Hi, welcome to Lincoln Center Pop-Up Classroom. My name is Ms. Taryn, and I'm super happy to be back here in the Lincoln Center Pop-Up Classroom with you. So I hope you've been enjoying the lessons with the other teaching artists. I hope you've been dancing and making music and making theater. And today we're going to be having another visual art lesson with something that I love. So let's see. So if you are an adult with a young artist in the room, if you could stay and help them add their comments in the comment section, that'd be fantastic. Add your own. We love to know that you're there and that you are interacting with the video. And if you know somebody who would enjoy this video, please share it with them. So today we are going to be working on shadow puppets. I absolutely love puppetry. It's something that combines the two art forms that I practice. If some of you may know me from being with you in the theater classroom with Lincoln Center Education, and some of you may know me from being with visual arts. So with puppetry, it combines both of those art forms. You get to make things and put things together, and you get to create characters and tell stories. So today we're expanding on our lesson from last week, where we explored silhouettes and the work of William Kentridge, that print that we looked at, which is called The Nose, in which he used shadow puppetry in an opera that he directed at Lincoln Center called The Nose. So if you didn't see that, Google The Nose, William Kentridge, and you'll get to see that work of art. So last week we worked on silhouettes. This was my silhouette of Mr. John, who's going to be interacting with you in the comment section. And we said Mr. John was really nervous about not having a haircut, but I think it looks fantastic. And we also worked with silhouette figures, so like full figures, and we talked about a shadow being what's created when there's a light source, but behind you or between you and a surface. So your shadow is always with you on a sunny day with the sun behind you and the grass on the ground, and you blocking out that light, making a shadow. So we're going to work on shadow puppets today, and we're going to be creating shadow puppets that have a joint. So I made a little leg here. We're not going to be making a leg. We're going to be working with the what do you call it? With an arm. That's what it's called. It's called an arm. But here's a little leg with a little foot. So we're going to be thinking about the joints of our body and how we can make joints for our shadow puppets. Let's go over our agenda. So for our agenda today, we have a welcome, which we just did. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Again, I'm Ms. Taryn, and I'm a teaching artist with Lincoln Center Education. We're doing shadow puppetry today. We're going to gather our materials. I'll tell you what you need in a moment. We're going to only work with a torso today. Last time we worked with a full body, and we worked with the part of a body just being the portrait head that we made. But this time we're going to be working with a torso. So combining kind of what we did with the shadow figure and what we did with the portrait head. Oh, and I also wanted to say, we also have Mr. Curtis, who's helping us with putting on some music. So I added his silhouette portrait behind me on that side. So thank you, Curtis, for all that you do. So we're going to draw a torso. We're going to turn that torso into a puppet. Then we're going to make our stage. We're going to talk about next steps, like what can you do? And there's so much puppetry out there right now. And then we're going to have our closing. So let's get started. The materials that we need. All right. So for our lesson today, we need paper. I'm going to be using food carton for my puppets. It's the paper from my food, one of the boxes of my food that I got from the kitchen. When people make shadow puppets, a lot of times they're using something called cardstock. I have a piece of cardstock here. So if you have cardstock at home, you can use that. I love to repurpose things. So so this is what I'm going to use today. You could also, since cardstock is what they make cards out of, if you have like a greeting card, use that. See what you have in your house and what's available. So I'm going to put this cardstock away because I'm going to use my paperboard. So you're going to need something to make a mark with. You could use a pencil, you could use a pen, You could use a marker or a crayon. That's just to draw our figure. The next thing that you're going to need is scissors and tape. These are going to be to cut things out, obviously, and to attach your figure to the next item. So we're going to need something that's going to be like a stick. I'm probably going to use a straw, and I have this, like, I don't know, thing that it works as a stick. So I have like kind of like a collection of sticks. I don't throw out like anything. I try not to take straws. It took me one time to see a straw inside a tortoise's nostril to say I don't want to use plastic straws anymore because I don't need them. So if someone mistakenly gives me a straw, I keep that straw and say I'm going to make something out of it. You could use chopsticks. Again, these are disposable chopsticks that I do not dispose of because they can be used to make puppets and other things. I also don't take plastic forks or knives anymore, but every once in a while, one slips in there. So you could use this as your stick item. Also, I have like a pen. You know, when my pen runs out of ink, I was like, I can use that for something. So you could use a pen or a pencil for your stick. The next thing that you need is twist ties. I have a rainbow of twist ties. So if you have twist ties, you're going to need something like that. If you don't, then I'm going to suggest that you think about how we use the twist tie and what you can use for that purpose. You might be able to tie something on, or to get some tension to work to hold your puppet to your stick. And then the last thing that we need are the things for this stage. So what I'm using for my stage is a cardboard box. I'll show it to you in a moment, but my cardboard box is probably like, well, look, I picked it up and I didn't show you. My cardboard box is probably like a foot to like by like 2 feet, something like that. So it's you know, about that big. No, that's too big, or that big by like that big. We're also going to need, up in that paper area on the list here, it says a big piece of white or newspaper. I have a white bag, paper bag that I'm going to use. And the last thing is a light source. I'm going to use my phone light. You could have a flashlight. Okay. So you can send your artist assistant to kind of gather those things. And if you do have a piece of paper and a pen with you to start, you don't need paperboard. You could just use a white piece of paper. As long as it blocks the light, it's going to work for you. So our first task is to draw that torso. And when you draw your torso, a torso is like about from your hips up, and you're going to draw it all the way to the top of the head. You're going to draw a figure, and you're going to draw an extra long arm. So the arm is going to be maybe 1/2 more the times an arm, and actually, so 1.5 lengths of an arm. Let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to draw, let's see. So I'm going to draw a torso, which means here's like my waist is going to be down here, and my shoulders are going to come down like this. So that's going to be my body, my torso. Okay. I need an extra long arm. So I'm going to make my arm That's a super long arm. Yeah, there's nobody's arm is like that long, I don't think. I'm going to make my arm, you can decide whatever you want to do with the hand at the end of your arm. It can wave, it can give a thumbs up. I'm gonna give it a point. I'm gonna make my figure a figure that likes to point at things. So I'm gonna make a pointer finger, a nice long finger with the rest of the hand. Okay, so there's my pointy hand finger. He's like, woo, like maybe he's like doing disco right now. And then I've got to get a face on there. So I'm gonna draw, thinking back to like what I did with my silhouette face. My face is gonna be in profile. And so I've got the profile of a face there. And now I've got to choose what I want for hair, and I think I'm going to go for curls today, like big, bouncy, beautiful curls. So let's see, we're going to go. So there's my figure. Got some big, bouncy, beautiful curls. Love it. So once you've got your figure, you can put an eye where your eye would go. Let's see, I think my eye would go right about there. Yeah. So now once you have your figure, you're gonna cut out your figure. So that's what I'm gonna need my scissors for. And I really have, so we basically have this silhouette of a puppet. I mean, a silhouette of a figure. A silhouette, we said in the last lesson, is a shape with a solid interior. So it's a shape, and it has, we see the contour, we see the outer edge of the, we see the outer edge of the shape, but we don't see what's inside the figure. All the details are missing. And that's what we do for shadow puppets. All the details are missing. So I'm just cutting out along my figure. Got my pointy finger here. Cutting out the silhouette. So yes, I absolutely love puppetry. I've been wanting to do a puppetry lesson with you from the very, very start. I was super excited that Mr. B went with puppetry and object puppetry to start off with. There are so many kinds of puppetry. So puppetry is just when you animate, you make something seem alive that is not alive. So it could be a figure like we have here today, or it could be, I think Mr. B had Mrs. Barbara Popperbox in his first episode. And just so you know, all the episodes that we've made in Lincoln Center Pop-Up Classroom are still available to you. So Mrs. Barbara Popperbox had a voice like this, and she was a box. She was a box with some eyes that Mr. B made for her, and she had a really wonderful voice, and she liked to sing opera. So I'm gonna at some point create a voice for this character here. But aside from shadow puppetry, you can have puppets that are really, really tiny, like finger puppets. You can have puppets that are gigantic, like way bigger than a human that you see like in festivals and things. But this is going to be a shadow puppet today. Last night I was at a meeting of I'm a member of the Puppetry Guild of New York City. So we had our first meeting, virtual meeting online, and everybody shared their work that they were creating. And there's so much online puppetry right now. So if you like this, you can not only watch more puppetry, but you can create puppetry and submit it to all the online festivals that are right now, possible right now, that are happening right now. All right, so I love my little pointy person, and I think this is a she, and she likes to point things out. So she's like, look at that, look at that. Oh my gosh, did you see that? Or hey there, you over there, come here. You. That. Here. So Ms. Pointy. Ms. Pointy person. Okay, so I'm almost done. I hope you're working along with me and cutting out your figure. You might actually think about how her voice might sound. All right, coming around the forehead, I got one more curl, and I saved the detail of the nose and the mouth, which is a little bit extra of a detail. Just a little bit more to cut. So I'm wondering, like, what does your puppet look like? What kind of hair did you give your puppet? Mine was big bouncy curls, but I could have given like big spiky hair, like a mohawk. I could have given nice, long, luxurious hair. I could have given her some braids. Okay, lips. And the contour is important because we're going to only be seeing the shadow. We're not going to be seeing the details of this figure, only the contour, only the outside edge. Okay, we got our last curl coming in here. Ta-da! There she is. Hey, look at that. Look at that over there. Over there, over there. So now we've got to figure out how we're going to be making a joint. And we don't need the arm to stay on for that part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a curve right here where her shoulder is. And then I'm going to, when I cut that off, I'm going to round off the very edge of the arm. So here's my cutting off her arm off of the torso. And now I've got two parts. I've got my torso and I've got my, hey, look over there, arm. Okay, so with this, I now need to make a joint to get this arm back onto this body. The first thing I want to do is I said I wanted to round off that edge. I'm going to round that edge. So today we're only going to make one joint. But, you know, an arm has more than one joint. It's got a joint at the shoulder, it's got a joint at the elbow, and it's got a joint at the wrist. So I could actually make 3 joints on this puppet arm, but today I'm just going to use that one arm, that one joint. Okay, so here's how we do it. Let me clear off my workstation. I'm done with cutting, so I don't need that anymore. And all these little pieces of paper. But I'm going to throw these out. I'm going to see if you told me what kind of hair. And maybe you could even put something on their body. Oh, I forgot one thing. I might want to do one thing before I put that one on. Okay. Let's see. There we go. So, oh, let's see. Ah, a poof hair, like a pompadour. Oh, I would love to see a pompadour hair. And that reminds me, when you are done with your puppet, I hope that you will share. There's a link that will be in the comments of how to share your puppet. So one thing that I forgot to do before I get started with making my joint here is with shadows, it is about the contours, but you also can have, with shadow puppets, you can have negative spaces. So I put that little eye dot there. I'm going to poke a hole so I have some light shining through there. So when I use my puppet to block the light, you'll be able to see where the light is. So let's see. First, I'm going to take a pen, and what I have is my little piece of hole punching cardboard. You're going to want a surface to poke your hole through so you don't damage your surface of whatever desk you're on. You could have like a little piece of cloth, like or you could have a folded up napkin, just something that's going to give you a little bit of push, so when you make a hole through something, it won't go onto the surface that you're working on. So I'm just going to poke my hole. I just pushed a pointy pen. This is a pretty pointy pen through, and I think you probably heard that. And it did make a little bit of hole. What I could have used a pencil. What I like to do is kind of like wiggle my tool in there and make it a little bit bigger. I actually have a favorite tool, which is a pointy chopstick. And so I just made a little eye right there. It's a hole that you can see probably me through. I'm actually going to give her like 3 buttonholes too, just because that'd be nice. 1 buttonhole. Oh, pen, come on. 2 buttonholes, 3 buttonholes. And again, you can decorate your the clothes of your figure any way you want to. And I am going to give it just a little bit more room with my pointy chopstick. Ooh. Okay. So now I do have a little bit of space where the light can pop through. And actually, I'll probably end up using one of those for something. Okay, so now I've got my arm and I've got my figure. And what I'm going to do is poke holes on my hole punching cardboard so that I can add, oh, I can get this back. So I can put a little piece of the twisty tie through it. So what I just made were two little dots that show where I'm going to poke my holes. So there's one at the end of my pointy arm, and then there's one right up here at the shoulder, because that arm is going to be attached. Oops. Oh, I'm pointing right. Whatever. There, that arm is going to be attached here. It's going to go look over there, look over there. Okay, so poking the hole through. Again, on my hole punching cardboard. My pen is like, wait a minute, I'm a pen, I'm not a hole punching implement. Okay, but you are a hole punching implement, at least for now. Or you could be. You just work with me a little bit. And then to make this just a little bit bigger, I feel like my pen's twitching on me slightly. Like how many holes have I punched for you? Yeah, there we go. I feel like I'm not getting a good hole that I really like to have. Oh, I just felt it go. There, now I have a nice good hole. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a hole that goes right through. And here I already had a good hole that goes through. What I found is, like, if you don't have a good hole, then it makes it really difficult to do the next step. So if you go to the next step and you're like, hey, wait a minute, this is really difficult, go back and make your hole just a little bit longer. So our next step is to use our twist tie. And I only need a little piece of it. So I need about like just under an inch. This is like, I cut this, it's 3/4 of an inch. So you can cut that with scissors. About 3/4 of an inch. And what you're gonna do is, you're basically trying to make it so this little piece of twist tie does not fall out of your hole. So you kind of have to have a little bit of, it's not really a knot, it's kind of like a little coil. So what I'm doing is like wrapping it around, I could do it around a pencil, I'm doing it around my pointy chopstick. And so what I end up with is kind of like a little, let's see, can you see that? It's like a little teeny, like a little teeny circle. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this other end through my arm, like through my arm hole right there, my shoulder hole. And then I'm gonna put oops, I did it in the wrong way. First I'm gonna put it through my arm, the end of my arm, like that, sticking right through. And then I'm gonna put it right through the shoulder. Like that. See it sticking right through? And so what I need to do on the other side is make that little curly cue. So I can kind of fold it, crimp it, wrap it around the tip of my pencil or pen, so that now I have a little bit of nubbiness on both sides of my joint. And that means my joint can go whoop, and it can go whoop any way I want. So I'm not going to be the one going whoop and whoop and whoop. Now I need to put my puppet onto something that I can move it around so my hands aren't so visible. For that, I'm going to use my sticks that I have. So I'm going to use a straw, and I'm going to use, this is like, again, like I just saved whatever. This is like something that I think that was like part of like a little flag. You can see there's like some glue at the end there still. I think it was something that I got some point in time, but you can use a pencil, you can use a pen, you can use any of those stick things. So grab your tape. Take your, whatever your stick thing is, and you're gonna just put it to the back and tape it to both sides. I kind of like to put the tape on my thing first, and then stick it down. Ta-da! I'm gonna put a little bit more tape up on the head part too. There we go. And now I need it, my stick is gonna go on at the hand, so the hand will move up and down. This might be a little bit wide, so I'm gonna cut my tape a little bit more narrow. Then I don't know if I've like totally figured out like how I want to attach this, how I want my stick to be attached. There's definitely different angles here if I put it one way or another. Okay, so here's my pointy finger. Hello, look over there. Look over there. Look over there. It's there. I'm telling you, it's over there. So now we got our puppet. Let's work on making it into a shadow. I can put all of my thingies away to keep my workspace clean. So what we said we need for shadows is to have a light source and a surface where the shadow gets cast, and then the thing that makes the shadow. So the thing that blocks the light to cast the shadow. The thing that is casting the shadow for us is going to be our puppet. I'm gonna put this down. I hope I can remember our agenda. Yep, I made the puppet. Now it's time to make the stage. So what I did for my stage was I took a box and I cut a hole in it, but I could have just folded in the inside and the outside, or the flaps, the side flaps, so that I had a space that goes from the end of the box all the way through, like it's a hole. And then for me, what I did was I needed a surface on, whoops, it's upside down. I needed a surface on which to put my on which to cast the shadow. And this is just a grocery bag. You see that the handle is still on it. And what I did was I put two tacks, one here and one here, but I could have taped it. It was just a really easy way to get my that little piece of paper bag onto my board. So this is something that you're gonna look around your house and figure out, hey, what do I have and how can I make it work? This might turn out to be a white sheet. If you have a piece of cloth, that could work. You could take a bunch of white copy paper and tape it together and cover the surface, or inspired by the print, William Kentridge's print, the nose, there was newspaper behind that. So when I first started playing, I just had a big piece of newspaper for my shadow. Okay, so I'm gonna want to face it this way because I want to get my puppet as close to the paper surface as possible. If I put it up here, I'd have some distance. So I'm putting the paper to the back. Now, you need that light source. For me, I'm just gonna use my phone. I have a flashlight in my phone, so why would I not use that? That seems like a really good idea. I have to make it a little bit taller than the phone is and get it to stand up, so I'm just gonna put it in a glass. Okie doke. Got my flashlight. You can see the light just kind of showed up. I'm putting my phone inside my glass and moving my glass to the back here. Let's see. Hello. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna block the light, right? If I block the light, here comes my lady, my puppet lady. Hey, what's over there? What's over there? Look at it. Okay, so now once you have your puppet, there's things that you can play with puppetry, right? So you can play with the scale of what your puppet is, how big or small your puppet is. if you bring your puppet really close to the surface of the paper, it's gonna be pretty small. Oh, pointy, pointy. Look over there. Hey you, come over here. What are you doing over there? What are you doing over there? I can make her really big by bringing her closer to the light. So I could really just get her face, or I can move the puppet so that really it's just that finger. Oh, a big giant pointy finger. What are you doing over there? What are you doing over there? Get out of here. Or it can be really, really specific. I can also play with where's the focus? Like, because I only have a certain amount of light here. You know, like some of the light shows up here. But if I move my puppet from like, this side to this side, I'm gonna move it from the outside over, oh, you can't quite see. I'm gonna move it from way over here. Is that the way? Yeah, way over there to way over here. And you'll see, because my light is where it is, sometimes you can see her and sometimes you can't. Right? So I can play with where my light shows up. So if I wanted just the beginning or just the pointer finger in there, I could really just make that pointer finger come in. And again, gigantic, large scale, coming close to my light source, like this. So I'm coming, if I want a gigantic figure, I come closer to my light source. And if I want a tinier finger, I put it closer to my, closer to the paper. You can just decide, like, where do you want the focus to be? The whole finger or just the hand? So then you can also play with like how fast or slow your puppet moves. So if she's like just like completely amazed by something and is like, oh, I might make her look like really slowly, like, oh my gosh, what is that? Right? Or if I wanted to, if she was like really excited about something, she might move quickly. Oops, let me get closer to the thing. So she might move really quickly. Let me get my hands and the light to work. Move the light over just a little bit there. Okay. So if she was like shocked by something that made her like, she's so shocked that she's gonna move very slowly. But if she's like, hey, you, get off of my lawn, she might move a lot faster. The other thing with, so again, we can play with how big something is, how small something is. That's the scale. We can play with how fast your puppet moves, how slowly your puppet moves, right? We can think about like the position inside the frame. So we said that she maybe would just have her hands inside the frame, or maybe it was going to be the whole figures inside the frame. We can also think about where your puppet like enters or exits, because you do have a frame here. So puppets are really cool because they do not have to move like humans do, right? She can float, or she can, she only, like, she can, it is floating. She can like float and do things that like real, like humans aren't able to do, right? You're saying right. But I would love it if you could like play around and see what your puppet does. The other thing is, if you then want to add a few more joints. The guy that I invented, I said that pointy hair, it's because yesterday, 2 years ago, I made a figure that does have like pointy hair. So here he is. And what I did with him was, after I made him to start off with, I gave him some more joints in his arms. Let's see, I'm going to go closer to there, get more in the light. So he has a few more joints in his arms, and he can like really move. He's got a joint in his wrist, and he's got it so his hand moves. I can just move his hand. Oops, come on there. I can just move his hand, or he can make big arm gestures. Yeah, no. Let me get him closer to get that finger. No. So you can decide if you wanted to add some more joints to your figure. All right. So let's see. Next steps. You could create some names. In fact, like if you created a puppet today, I would love to know what name you're thinking about for your puppet. If you can add that into the comment sections, I'll read some names. I think that the puppet that I created today, oh, her stick just came off. The puppet that I created today, I think I'm gonna call her Mildred. She looks like a Mildred to me. And yeah, Mildred. And then I think my other puppet, well, you could say what you think his name should be. I think I'm just gonna call him Hank. He definitely seems like a Hank to me. And he's very, I don't know, I love pointy figures. So you can come up with the names for your characters. You can decide like what would happen if your character met somebody else. You could also play with a set. So this is like a pressed flower that I had, and I was thinking, oh, if I put this in, it totally just adds a new kind of thing. Maybe that's what Mildred is, maybe that's what she's pointing at, or maybe that's what she like really cares about. I've got to water my hydrangeas. I want them to look beautiful and puffy this year. Got to water my hydrangeas. I want them to look pink and fluffy this year. So you can think about, or you can play with different other objects and what they do in the screen. And again, they don't have to be realistic. I just made it be a flower, but it doesn't have to be. It could be, clouds in the sky that are kind of the wind, the weather is kind of like blowing them along. Yeah. So next steps would be to make that script. Name your characters, play with other kinds of objects in there. Check out some of the puppetry that's available online. There are so many. If you type in an online puppet festival into a search engine, you're going to find a lot of great things. And puppetry is not just for children. There's so much puppetry that is for adults as well, or for adults only sometimes. So enjoy exploring puppetry. And I'd love to see what you guys make. We at Lincoln Center would love to see what you make with your puppets. There's going to be a link in the comment section that you can take a picture of your puppet. If you want to, I think like if it's possible to share, I'd love to see a video of like your puppet moving, or you can have voice or you can not have voice. You don't have to make your shadow puppets talk. You can tell a lot with action. So please explore puppetry a little bit more and share whatever you discover. You can inspire others with what you create. That's it for shadow puppetry today in the Lincoln Center pop-up classroom. I hope that you join us every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a new lesson. Tomorrow we have some teaching artist challenges. I believe it's Ms. Ashley and Mr. Damien. I can't wait to see them live up to the challenges that they are given. I know we give you guys challenges a lot, so it's nice to put the teaching artists in that position. Until I get to see you again, be well. And next time we'll meet in the Lincoln Center pop-up classroom.